Ladies and gentlemen, it's been tough to make videos this week. My wife's off work. I'm not off work yet. Spring break for me starts next week. My daughter's spring break was 2 weeks ago. No one in my family is synced. What is this, a government conspiracy to keep my family separated? What in the heck is going on? I'm offended by this situation. So yeah, you know, my wife's right now feeding her friend's cats, so who knows, she may break in here as I sneak in this this video. As I try to look nonchalant while I wear my Seiko Sumo on an end mill without curved links so that there's a gap. And I actually like the gap because you can see the case more. I don't know, I've gotten used to it. Maybe eventually I'll get the strap code end mill bracelet that has the curved links that's designed for the Sumo, and then you won't be able to see the gap, and the whole world harmony will be restored to its natural order. So here's what I want to talk about today. I've had this nagging sense that I have a certain type of watch obsessive hardwiring which does not allow me to enjoy huge lavish feasts of watches. I get overwhelmed by anxiety and even misery when my collection gets too big. I think I had 11 watches a month or so ago, and I was miserable with it. And I have a friend, Ted, who got me on a diet, and in fact all my clothes are falling off me. I got my new clothes. I'm 213. I'll talk about that in a second. I was 245 back in December. But the situation is, my neighbor Ted, he has 25 really nice watches, tags, I think he has a Rolex, some other stuff. He's got some nice stuff, and he's completely at peace with having a big collection, and I can't do it. So I had this hypothesis that my hardwiring is such that when I have fewer watches, I can enjoy them more. And so here, I don't know, is this a bombshell for you guys? I'm down to 5 watches. I sold a bunch of watches, I'm down to 5, and I'll do a state of the collection soon. I kept my 2 Seiko tunas, kept my Sumo. I have my Citizen Pro Master Sky in black. I sold the silver one, that was painful, but the black one is good. And what else do I have? Lord have, oh, I have my blue Seiko Transocean, and and you know what? I think my hypothesis is proving correct. Number one, I just feel so much better, and it's a nice accompaniment to my losing weight. You know, shedding fat baggage and shedding materialism baggage is nice. So 5 is great. I think because I'm a watch obsessive, I'm going to go up to 7. So I think I've talked about this. Seiko has a Diashield Sapphire diver coming out. Bruce Williams, fantastic channel, he told me that it will be available in Japan in June. It is the Seiko SPB 077. If it's priced reasonably, I'm going to buy it. I mean, as you just heard, you know, I sold a lot of watches, and so I have funds for it. And the only other watch I think I would buy is some kind of a GShock solar thing, preferably with sapphire. You know, the Frogman kind of has a style that I could identify with. It's a little pricey, the one with sapphire, but hey, that's a luxury of having just like 5 or 6 watches. You can buy the nicer ones. My only problem with Casio GShock is I don't know how to work them. I study the manuals. I go on YouTube. I'm not a dumb guy, but there's something about my brain trying to remember A, B, C, D button, time mode, T1, T2, T3, T4, DST, world time mode, UTC, other kind of time mode. I have no idea. I feel like trying to set up my GShock watch is like prepping for a colonoscopy. It's not pleasant, and I need a coach. I need someone to come into my house. Hi, I'm your GShock Casio coach. I'm here to make your GShock a very pleasant user experience. I have all the information at my disposal. I'm here to help you. Oh, come on in, Gazoo from Flintstones. Help me, dude. So yeah, man, I got a few doubts. about getting another G-Shock, but I don't know, man. Now that I have such a small collection, maybe I'll treat myself to one of those fancy G-Shocks that have sapphire on them and stuff for my diver athletic watch. What a spoiled indulgence that would be. So a lot of you might be saying, McMahon, you only have 5 watches, man. You're making the move, man. Why are you gonna start getting some of those $3,000–$4,000 Seiko high beats? Huh? Come on, bring it on. And I'll tell you what, for me to be a watch collector, I have to be in my comfort zone somewhat. And everyone has to define their own comfort zone based on their income, their family responsibilities, etc., etc. And for me, about $1,000 is about as much as I want to spend on a watch. I don't really want to have a collection that's much more than $6,000 in value. So it's about comfort. Speaking of comfort, you know, I'm losing weight right now. I got to buy new clothes all the time. Hey, man, if you got to complain about buying new clothes because you're shedding fat pounds, then shut up, dude. So, you know, there's a comfort zone to that too. I mean, I'm eating about 100 carbohydrates a day. Probably the biggest thing that I miss. I had to quit banana. Man, I love banana. I was eating a half a banana a day, maybe a whole banana a day, and I stopped losing weight when I was 220. So I stopped all banana, and I'm losing 2 pounds a week again. I'm 213 now. I'm still eating a couple small apples a day, and I'm eating probably 100 carbs a day. And I'm losing weight. And here's the thing, you know, let's say, theoretically, that I stop at 205 and I just stop losing weight. Some people say, McMahon, you got to cut your carbs down to 50 and then you'll get down to 190 or 195. And here's my take on that. To me, lowering my carbs below 100 is like spending more on a watch that I don't want to spend. I'm going out of my comfort zone. And for me, if I lower my carbs too much, I'm going to hate my life too much to do this no sugar, no gluten program. I don't hate my diet. I don't hate my life. I don't hate my eating lifestyle, whatever you want to call it. I actually like what I'm eating right now. And I am in a comfort zone. I am eating 100 carbs. I'm eating some fruit. Occasionally I'll eat a half a sweet potato. Occasionally I'll eat some red potato. Occasionally some quinoa. But if I were to be hardcore low carb and eat 50 carbs a day, I'm sure I would go down to 190. But that's the equivalent of me spending $6,000 on a Seiko high beat Grand Diver or whatever, $8,000. I don't need to do that. I don't need to be that extreme. I actually think going that extreme would be deleterious to my my psyche, my health, and my ability to be consistent. As my neighbor Ted told me when I embarked on this weight loss, it's all about consistency. You got to be consistent, and I don't think I could be consistent with my eating if I was going down to 50 carbs a day. I think I would hate my life. I already have some negative attitude issues that I struggle with every day. I try to be as positive as I can, and believe me, it's a challenge for me. What could possibly go wrong? It's you, McMahon. So it's really about comfort zones, and I see the same need for a comfort zone in my watch collecting in terms of the price of the watches, and for me, the size of the collection, and it's different for everyone, as it is with my carbohydrate intake. And I have to tell you guys, to finish this video off, I really love having 5 watches right now. I look at the box and I have this this sense of, this absence of anxiety and this happiness with the watches that I have. I have no idea how to explain it. I just think it's hardwiring. It's how I'm built. And some of you guys can have a couple dozen watches or more and you're totally okay with it. I can't do it. And it's like all the watches that I own now, they're better. They look better. It's the weirdest thing. So that's my balanced story for the day, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to get the heck out of here. Hopefully I'll have some good video content next week, because I'm off school, man. I'm off work. we will see what happens. Until next time, I am out.